and we've all got to go to board meetings so that we're sitting there when they're going to vote to spend this money. We got to say, no, don't give Barney the power to spend this money. Make sure it's spent on what it's supposed to be spent on. Barney will fritter it away. So I don't know. I mean, I think all the passion we have, everything is terrific, and I think we should try and get them to postpone. But we really got to try and make them put this money in this repair and replacement fund whenever they start taking from us in whatever amounts, and try and do our best to make sure that Barney doesn't get his hands on it to spend it how he wants it.
Okay.
Yes.
Cliff has something to say over here.
Can that be
Again,
Hopefully, if we get to finish our agenda here today.
what I see happening is what happened in our last meeting.
Yeah,
We're spending time, we're talking about all these different points.
right.
We only have a short time. Our main focus is business-wise. The assessment, to me, is not reasonable. And if it's not reasonable to everyone here, that should be our point. We don't think this is reasonable. And then with that, we'll have some more time to discuss priorities, all the other stuff. But if we don't approach them head on with a focus, then it's going to be spread all over and nothing is going to be accomplished.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's this sheet here. So we have a focus. Yeah. This is our focus, right? Now we decided that this is our focus. Pause the process, and here's what we want to know.
But excuse me, pause. Excuse me, we receive letters. Me as a homeowner, I don't think this is a reasonable assessment and giving us a reasonable time.
Right.
We as residents do not agree with this. And once we do not agree with it, if we have a majority, they have to listen to it, correct?
Right.
Then once we get to a plan where we could maybe spread the assessments over a period of time, then as we're looking at spreading the assessment, now we can look at what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and all that. But if we go in there and we scattered, and we're not coming directly and saying, hey, we got these letters, we don't agree with this.
Right.
This is going to be hard on us.
I don't think we're scattered. Cliff,
It's true.
do you want to add something here?
Yes.
I understand how Cliff might be feeling like things are scattered because what I'm hearing, the two different things I'm hearing are that on the one hand, I'm hearing from Bruce, we don't actually have a lot of power in this situation. They can do what they want to because it's in the bylaws with regard to assessments. And I'm hearing other people in the room say, actually, we have the power to help the process and work out the details later. So I don't know which is accurate, but I'm hearing kind of two different
I'd like
things.
to address that.
Yeah. Scott.
The power to stop it is based on the implied threat that we would replace the board if they don't. He is right that.
The applied authority is all the homeowners saying, no, we don't agree with that. That's the
We do have the
base, that's the
authority,
power.
But it's not organized yet, and so we can't say that we have the authority.
Most
We
of
don't
the
have
people that's
power
going to come here tomorrow is going to come about the assessment.
Okay.
The most,
That's
not all the people here are just the people that's going to be here tomorrow.
Right.
But I believe the majority of every one of us is coming here about one thing.
Stop the assessment.
That's not acceptable.
Delay.
Now, if we start talking about all these other things,
Right.
Well, let's
They're
go
related.
forward.
They're
Let's go forward.
They're related, but the word, it's not, what was the word, Chris?
Acceptable.
It's not acceptable is a little different than
That's
halt
right.
and pause.
That's right.
So it's
Not
not
acceptable.
it's just bottom
Put
up,
that
it's
up
not
there.
acceptable.
This woman wants to say something right
I
here.
just think,
What's your name?
my name's Judy Clark.
Judy.
And I think that when you get something back from them, they should give you details. They are so vague on what they say.
Yes.
They don't tell you, I mean, they put a new roof on, we took it out, and we estimated this cost, and this is what it came in at. And these are major items. I'm not asking them to
He
break
grouped
down an
three-
electric
yeah.
bill.
He grouped 3 projects all together when that pipe broke down. He had the pipes fixed, he ripped out the grass and put in that bike rack. He repaired the roofs and he put solar panels on there and I think it leaks again.
I've had a hand up here. I don't want to go into this detail. They're on that parking lot.
He put solar in the roof.
As far as the
What's your name?
Jenny,
As far as the decision that we make and the way that we present it, and the word pause, if we decide that the assessment is unreasonable and we want it to change, maybe pause isn't a good word. Because that sounds like then it would resume at what it currently is. So I think pause may not be the best word, because if we decide that a different financial amount is reasonable, or that a different time frame is reasonable and the assessment is changed, then pause isn't a great word.
how about both?
So the assessment is not acceptable. Unacceptable.
In terms of amount and or
We don't
time.
know that until we get answers.
You
to
think
the
you
question.
might-
Now we're
Cheryl.
gonna be all thrown down tomorrow.
So my whole thought was, why, the last assessments that have occurred at Remington Post, the biggest complaint from every homeowner was the amount of time that was given.
Right.
Why this board didn't take the time to talk to homeowners and have this meeting prior to voting for the assessment, and going through these things with the homeowners, and then voting on it, making us understand.
Agreed.
So let's
Agreed.
I can tell you
So-
why.
So what I'm hearing Cheryl say is that the process that is currently in place for communicating with homeowners about assessments is not acceptable. Are we in agreement to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so the way, it looks like the majority, right?
Yes.
The way in which communication is done about assessments is unacceptable and needs to change. That is a condition.
And
Right?
and the
What is your name
assessment,
again?
my name is Jane, and
Jane.
the assessment itself is not acceptable until we have a proper time frame and we know what the amounts are for.
Yes.
In detail.
I think is
And current bids, the way that the letter reads, it states in the list of priorities, it states this is on past projects that have occurred. You can't do bidding that way. You have to get current bids, or add 5% to that number from before. Because
there's a lot of details here, but I think we need to are we in agreement that we wanna move forward? Because our time is limited. What?
Current bids is important.
It is very important.
Current.
I just,
And when we're
Scott.
Finish adding the thing about having an outside consultant tell us what the list of priorities is, what things actually need to be done, what things can be pushed off.
So Scott, is that more of a, do you guys want a reserve study or an auditor to come in? Because it's two
Yes,
separate-
both.
Yeah, well, reserve study just does the amounts, it doesn't establish priorities, so they're really two different things.
So I did find my list of priorities that we created when I was on the board, that we prioritized, and we have life expectancies. So I'm very happy to share that with people if they want to say it,
This
see it.
priority, this list would have to be based on the current situation.
Right, but it shows how everything has stopped. I
Yeah,
mean, it just shows that we predicted
right.
at that time, and they didn't continue with it. So I'm just wondering if that would help to have the list of what was on there.
Stop, Cheryl, what year was that it stopped and continued again?
Well, I left the board in 2005, 2006, and that's when I stopped using that list.
Okay, the woman in the orange?
Hi, I just want to second what you said, I think your name was Bruce.
What's your name?
Shia. And I've been to as many meetings as I can make it to, and I have to say that the list of questions that I heard you all coming up with tonight have been asked and been addressed by the board, for better or worse, however they address, but they do have answers to those questions.
Well,
We may not like the answers, but to their feeling, they have been communicating with the community over a series of months, but like there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people showing up to these meetings.
Right.
So I just want to second that we, as a community, need to show up more often, even when there's not a scary assessment on the table. Because these conversations, it's almost circular. Like I've heard these same conversations. There was our last big general meeting where the roofs was kind of the big hot topic. There was quite a good turnout. But I'm not recognizing a lot of your faces from that meeting. And so this has been being discussed with whoever will show up. So I'm just really glad to see you all here tonight. And I hope that we can actually start showing up so that we're not caught by surprise and asking the same questions that several of us have been asking at these meetings
I think another,
Okay, thank you, Shannon.
We're losing the focus again, I'm sorry.
Okay.
For tomorrow,
Tomorrow, yeah.
you know, for us, this assessment in terms of how it was done and the amount without investigation is unacceptable.
Yeah, so let's move forward about tomorrow, but Jackie wanted to say one thing.
I just wanna
speak with you, what you're saying.
I just wanted to say that the problem, yes, attend meetings by all means, but the board has not been making any effort that I've been able to detect to communicate with homeowners who do not show up at the meetings.
Right.
And that needs to change as well.
They need to keep better minutes.
Yeah. So it's 6:20 right now, and I want to respect everybody's time. We're all busy people, so I want to focus on what we want to present tomorrow, and who wants to present that?
I nominate you.
I know, I second
I nominate Scott.
I nominate Scott.
Scott.
Yes.
I second.
How many for Scott?
How many of you
How
want
many for
Scott
Scott?
to say the question?
How many for you?
How about they do it together?
Yeah.
Well, I think one person, I think one person should do
I
it.
think Scott would.
Go ahead, Cliff.
I think you present it, because to me, it's very simple. It's very simple. God, we got this assessment. When I saw it, I'm on a budget. I live on a budget. You can't come and just drop 2,000. I know they don't care. I care. We care. And if we go in there and we just say, I'm supporting it, we want some, if we don't support this, it's not reasonable. I just don't think it's reasonable.
It isn't, right.
I mean,
And he's tall.
$2,000 in a month is reasonable.
All right, let's do it.
Business-wise,
We're
is
trying
that
to figure
business?
out, let me just gather us again real quickly. We're trying to figure out who's gonna present tomorrow. Did you wanna say something about this topic?
Yeah.
We're on who's presenting. Go ahead.
Who's presenting?
Yeah.
Well,
Who's
I
presenting?
don't think we've heard enough from Scott.
Yes, I don't either.
Your only introduction of Scott was that he had one issue.
Right.
So I've read your emails and they're very reasonable, but.
Well, let's finish this list first. I mean,
Yes.
my thing about taking over the board and taking over the meeting, all that stuff, can wait. This needs to be dealt with first, and I'm happy to go along with it. I think there's one thing on here that we've talked about, but we haven't voted on, which is setting priorities and trying to establish a cutoff for which repairs get done now and which repairs get done next year. And what.
That should be one of the questions on the list that we
Well, we're not
voted
asking
on.
questions, we're asking the demands.
I don't think we have the authority to make demands of the board.
Well, if we don't make demands, we're gonna pay $4,100.
So who, I think we need to, all right, there's three things that we have to do before we leave tonight. We have to figure out what the conditions are, okay? We have to figure out who's presenting tomorrow. Are we all in agreement? We're moving for tomorrow here, okay? This was, okay, consolidate list of questions, someone to present. Okay, so we skipped something, but are there any other things we want to know? Yes.
Okay, why don't we list what we really want? You know, okay, so we don't want the assessment, but we could do, like, down the road, we could do a certain amount now, or we could do, break it down.
I suggest
Go ahead, Jen.
I suggest we do that later. That's something that we can confer on after, but right now for tomorrow, what are we gonna do tomorrow?
Yeah, we've made some progress tonight. The progress was, the majority of the people in this room think that the assessment, we need to stop it.
Yes.
Whatever the word is, I'm not gonna go there right now, but we need to stop this assessment. September 1st is a week away.
No,
Whatever it is away.
Yes.
And so we've decided that. So that's the progress we've made,
Yes.
okay? And that's why we came here. So we have to come up with some sort of conditions that we say, okay, we're gonna be in dialogue with you, board. We don't want this assessment. We want it stopped. There's 75% of this meeting tomorrow night. We're looking forward. We're saying, okay, we're done. But these are the things that we want to happen before we pay, because as Cheryl pointed out, we should have known this way in advance. The process was not transparent to begin with. So what do we want to do here? Jim?
I hate to be a broken record, but I'm trying to keep this simple.
Yeah.
There used to be a saying, the KISS principle.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. I'm only saying we should go in there with two things. One is, we have